This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, talk, inspiration, and prayer. Listen to my show every Monday from 11 to 12 on KWWJ 1360 AM, KYOK 1140 AM, KCOH at 1230 KCOH.com, Sankeet Radio at 95.1 FM, 1460 AM, and Latino Sports, KEYH 850 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then. All right, Houston, here is me, a tip from me. Talk, inspiration, and prayer. Gilbert Garcia coming at you. And I want to say thank you so much. And of course, Conchita, if you're out there and everybody knows her by one name, Conchita, like there's Madonna, there's Cher, well, there's Conchita. If you're listening out there, when she says, Gilbert, I need you to put someone on the air, we got to do it. So Conchita, we have Mr. Terry Virts. And let me tell you, this gentleman is like royalty. And I'm not kidding when I say it. Terry, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, and shout out to Conchita. You are right. She's a force of nature.
She really is. And Terry, first of all, we have Terry on the show because he's a candidate for Congress in CD9. Is that correct?
That's the newly gerrymandered, not Al Green's CD9, but the one that comes into effect next year.
Okay, do me a favor. Educate us on what the new district lines are going to kind of be, or what's kind of moving, or what's kind of not.
Sure.
Each district is, remind me, about 800,000 people?
A little bit less, yep.
A little bit less? Okay. Yeah. How many are still in that are going to be there that were there before, if you know these
3%.
That's it.
90. This is a totally different district.
Holy cow!
Yeah, and most people don't even know that they're in this new district. This is what happened last summer when Trump gave orders to his employee Greg Abbott and said,
right,
"Give me 5 seats." So they are gerrymandering this seat, and this is a case of, this administration's just trying to steal black and brown districts, and so they're trying to take away Al Green's district. Al Green currently represents District 9.
Holy cow!
But this is a new 9.
But bring your mic up a little bit more. There you go.
There you go.
And stay with me.
Okay.
What's interesting about that is, how are we letting people even know? Is anybody letting anybody know that, by the way, you were in that guy's district and now this guy's running for your district? I mean, how confusing. And I'd like to think that I'm an educated person, right? And I'm confused. And not just on CD9, but the one that's really confusing is CD18.
It is.
And I understand Amanda Edwards is now dropping out, if that's the right word. I don't mean to sound, that sounds kind of harsh. I don't mean it that way. But she's elected not to run after all here in March. But she's going to stay involved because she's very involved in all the community. But that's the one that's most confusing because you have a partial seat, and then you've got a full seat, and then you got a primary. Now, is this going to be a full term, right? That this is not to fill the seat.
So what just happened, we had a special election because Sheila Jackson Lee passed away, and then Sylvester Turner passed away, and Greg Abbott decided to leave the seat open for a year to help Donald Trump out and have one less Democrat in Congress. So after a year, they finally had an election just a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Christian Menefee won that. It was a close race, but that is only until November. So now they have to have, I guess until January. So for 1 year, that was a special election, and now they're going to have, and this is a new 18, because 18 got gerrymandered also, not quite as badly. So the election that starts a week from tomorrow, the special election does, the early voting does. The primary is on March 3rd. This is just a normal midterm primary.
So yours is just a regular full-term election.
Correct. And so Christian gets 1 year of special, or 10 or 11 months, and then he has to run next week for the same seat that he just won last week. And Al Green is going to be running in that. So Al Green was in the old 9. He's running in the new 18, which encompasses a lot of his old 9. So I think Christian Menefee and Al Green are kind of the main competitors in that seat.
Well, holy cow, you know what? I'm already confused. By the way, there's your water real quick.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, team. Don't worry, we got it all right there. So let me ask you this. Away from the confusion, what the heck is someone like you that has done all these amazing things? And by the way, he is been a commander of the
International Space Station.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. You say it like it's just like a no big thing. That's phenomenal. You're like a real life Captain Kirk.
Well, 16 years ago yesterday, actually, I launched on my first mission, and we finished building the space station on that flight. And then I went back a few years later with the Russians, flew on a Russian Soyuz spacecraft, and then I was commander on that mission. So I spent a little over 7 months in space.
Can we I want to shake your hand. No, really, this sounds crazy, but I feel like to say, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I mean, it's like, what do you say to that? So here's, in case you can see this, producer, he's going to sign one that's just going to say, Gilbert, I owe it all to you, or something really grand. But is that really amazing? What's interesting is when you were growing up, when you were young, Terry, did you say to yourself, I want to be an astronaut?
The first book I can remember reading in kindergarten was about Apollo. It was about the moon. It was one of those cardboard one-line things.
Yep.
And I thought, that's something pretty cool. And I didn't grow up in a family of astronauts or anything. I was the first guy to go to college from my family, mostly Union family. But I had posters. I had a YF-16, the old red, white, and blue F-16 poster on my wall. I had the all-white Space Shuttle Columbia poster on my wall when I was a boy. And I got to do it. And so here's my advice is for young people or old people. My advice is don't tell yourself no.
Amen.
If there's some dream you have, if you tell yourself no, you're not going to get it. So that's what I tell folks. Don't tell yourself no.
That is so great. And you know what? Even though that is only whatever that is, 10 words, it's so profound. Because at the end of the day, we're only on this planet one time. So, well, I guess for you, you were in and out, but
I went around it several thousand times.
I can't say it to you. But the point is, we're here on this glorious journey of life one time, and at the end of the day, you want to go for it because this is your chance, especially when you're young and you're formidable. Formative years. Mm-hmm. By the way, we're looking at the website right now, so we're going to kind of go through it as we're talking. And so, how do you become an astronaut? So, did you say? I mean, you have to become a physicist, or how do you become one?
So NASA has a few qualifications. You need a technical college degree, so engineering or science or medicine, something like that. There's different categories. Back in the day, there were pilots and mission specialists. Now everybody's kind of just an astronaut because the SpaceX capsule is very automated. They don't really have piloting requirements. But I was a F-16 fighter pilot. I was in the Air Force for 30 years, was a test pilot. And so I came in that way. And when I did, I came here in 2000. So I moved to Houston 25 years ago to be an astronaut. It was a paper application. So it was like 100 pages, or it was a pain in the butt to fill out this application. And it took about a year. There was different interviews. They would call your references. I had to come here for a week. It was like the best week of my life. Everybody told me, Terry, you have no chance of making this, because I was really young. I was still a student at test pilot school. I hadn't even graduated. So I just came here thinking, this is so cool. I get to meet astronauts. I got to fly the space shuttle simulator. I didn't really think I'd get picked because I was so young. But you know what? I got picked, and that's where that don't tell yourself no thing. A lot of my classmates didn't apply, even though they wanted to be astronauts. They said, well, I'll just wait till I have more. Well, guess what? There was a Space Shuttle Columbia accident that I was personally involved with that. All these things happened, and my friends who were smarter than me and better looking than me, they should have been picked, but they didn't because they didn't apply. So that goes back to that, don't tell yourself no.
You know what? We had something like that with our one of our biggest clients, and there was an RFP, which of course is meaning your request for proposal. That's right. Yep. You're competing.
Yeah.
And a lot of different competitors of ours chose not to apply, and a few applied, but they didn't do it right. And at the end of the day, we were the last person standing.
Right.
And we were hired, and we got about 25. I don't know what you're doing up there, producer, but
my endorsements.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, we're going to go through that in a second. But we were 25 million, and now we are managing 650 million for them. And so, and it came out of just, we filled it out right.
Right.
And we filled it out.
Right.
But going back for a second, So you got to have a technical background,
Right.
Something in STEM, I guess, more
Right.
or less.
Yeah.
And don't you have to, you see that movie, what's that one with Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd?
Groundhog Day.
No, the one where they're trying to be astronauts and they're going around and around,
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah,
his
yeah.
hair was all messed up.
Yep. We have to do the centrifuge. Yep, that's part of it.
And did you come out of that going, holy cow, or did you did you do it again?
Well, as an F-16 pilot,
Oh.
that's a 9G jet, so I've done 10G centrifuges. At NASA, you only have to do 3G, so it wasn't quite as bad as.
So it was like
as
it
the
was,
other.
like nothing but a
It
thing
was
for
a
you.
walk in the park.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then what about the movie? It's escaping me now. Where the name of it, and it was all about. It was a great book. Then they made a movie out of it, and Chuck Yeager was.
The Right Stuff.
The Right Stuff.
It's the best.
And where he was
Yeah.
going all the way, pushing the plane to the
Yeah.
limit, and
Yeah.
up there in I don't know what it called, sort of space.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible.
When you go to test pilot school, they have the F-104. They used to have this F-104 with little rocket jets on it, and they would zoom it up so like 100,000 feet where the air wasn't thick enough to control it, so they had the rockets controlling it. As a teenager, I wanted to be an astronaut, but I didn't know what to do. And a family friend said, read The Right Stuff, so I read that book.
Isn't it a great book?
It is the best.
It's fantastic.
And
the movie, have you seen the movie?
the movie
It's fantastic.
is spectacular.
Yes.
It's 40 years old. It's
Yeah.
held up very well.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep
That's
going.
right.
So you read it, and it.
Well, those guys were fighter pilots
yep.
and then test pilots, so that I was like, okay, that's what I'll do. So I went to the Air Force Academy when I was 17. That was my college, and then here I am.
Wow, what a story. Well, let me go back to my original question. You seem like such a rational person. You seem like you're so accomplished, when you think about all this, your space life. What are you doing running for Congress? Tell us about that. And are you ready for, you're going to be going from sort of everything so merit-based to now you got to work with, 435 people, of which half don't like the other half, et cetera, and all this sort of, in today's society, unfortunately, this meanness and all this sort of stuff. I mean, really, first, how did you get bit by the bug to say, you know what, I'm going to run?
I lost a bet. Just kidding. No, you know what, Gilbert, in all honesty, I got tired of yelling at Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, this stuff going on is awful.
It's madness.
There's masked men on the streets yanking people and sending them in detention centers right here in my district. They're doing it in Pasadena in District 9, the new 9. So I just got tired of this nonsense. We're threatening Greenland.
Yeah, can you imagine that?
I can't.
I mean, we're going to break up NATO somehow.
I was served in Germany. I'd had the nuclear mission in the F-16. I had a town in the Warsaw Pact. That was my town. Like, when I was a kid, I lived in Finland, ironically, on the border of the Soviet Union. Mm-hmm. I literally, unlike Sarah Palin, I could actually look across the lake and see the Soviet Union. So I joined the Air Force to defend us from that kind of dictatorship. And here we are. We have a president that's playing footsie with that. He just hung a picture of Vladimir Putin and him holding hands at the White House. And every day, the Russians are killing Ukrainians. I was texting this morning. 3 friends from Ukraine texted me this week, hey, my apartment's on fire. We're sitting here, it's 0 degrees, and we have a couple hours of electricity and heat every day. And Trump is putting a picture of him and Putin on the wall of the White House.
I mean, it's so outrageous.
Yeah.
I don't even think that's the right word. It's almost like unfathomable.
Yeah.
And if you go back,
Gilbert,
please.
Yeah,
go.
It's not unfathomable. In 1938, we had a Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden.
Is that right?
Yes. Giant swastika in New York City at Madison Square Garden. We had a guy named Father Coughlin. He was the Sean Hannity back in the 1930s. 25% of Americans listened to him every week. A quarter of the country listened to him. He was a fascist. That's why we've seen this before.
That's why history's so important. And I'm embarrassed to say I didn't know that. But thank you for telling me. What's interesting about that is you would say, a person would say to you, hearing you, well, yeah, but that was, almost 100 years ago. But here we are repeating it.
It's funny when you say, I go block walking every day. This afternoon I'm going to be in LaPorte. I was in every day I go somewhere different in the district. And so it's a diverse district. There's a large Latino population, African American, white, Asian. And when I talk to African Americans, they don't think this is so shocking. I've never seen this before. I mean, America has had a history. You know, we had the Ku Klux Klan in this country.
That's right.
So it's not like what we're seeing is there's no precedent. Unfortunately, there is a precedent. So we need to just like have our eyes wide open, be rational about it, and end it. And I think there's going to be a huge wave. You know, even a lot of Trump voters this is not what they voted for. So,
well, I want to go back to a lot of things, meaning all the things that you said. I want to go and dovetail on some of them, but I want to go back to this ridiculous, horrifying, I don't know the right, but this post that President Trump did, where it had the Obamas' faces on monkey bodies. Can you imagine that? I mean, what gets someone to sit there and say, you know what, let me do this. This is going to be funny.
Right.
You know, it's not even funny, and it's just not even appropriate. It's awful.
Yeah.
But you know, you got to wonder what's in their thinking.
Well, but there's three things that characterize this administration: incompetence, like Pete Hegseth, immaturity, like Pete Hegseth and Christine Other, and malice. And when you look at, and the whole thing is built on a foundation of lies. So as soon as this came out, some staffer was like, "Oh no, that wasn't Trump. It was a staffer did it. It was that we took it down." And then Trump, after that, came out and said, "No, it was me." He doubled down on. This is the "what are you going to do about it" administration. This is the "you have permission to be an awful human being" administration. And there's nothing. That's not even like locker room, haha.
That's right.
It's not even like funny amongst the guys' humor. It's like profoundly disgusting, and the president is doubling down on it.
Yeah, it's so, I don't know, shocking almost.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, shocking is, I guess, the only word I can come up with. It's just shocking, and it's got that song in the background. The Lion Sleeps Tonight. I mean, it's just the whole thing.
So I do guest lecturing at Harvard Business School.
Go for it.
And we talk about Challenger and Columbia, the two space shuttle accidents. And after Challenger, this lady named Diane Vaughan wrote a book, and she coined the term the normalization of deviance. Because in both space shuttle accidents, bad things were happening. The NASA managers saw it, but they said it's okay, it's not killing anybody, so it must not be that bad. They were normalizing deviance, right? In the space shuttle, it was leaking gas and foam, but bad things were happening, but they normalized it. That's what Trump is doing on a global scale. He's normalizing deviance. Like, that video should have provoked a constitutional crisis. There should be 25th Amendment hearings right now. In Denmark, there would be. In France, there would be. In Japan, there would be. But here, he's normalizing deviant behavior.
Yep. Well, the other thing is, you know, if there was a staffer, someone needs to have hearings to find out who that person is, and they should be fired, right? I mean,
you're looking at one.
Yeah, if it's true,
right.
And who knows what the truth is, but if it was true that it was a staffer, well, my goodness, find him. And shouldn't you be able to just, I mean, I'm not an IT person. Obviously, I'm talking to someone that kind of knows a lot more than I do about it. But shouldn't there be some sort of footprint on the computer of when you created it, that you could find this IP address, 105, blah, 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 created it, and then put it on the website at this time, and who has access to the website? I mean, this should be easy to really track down. Am I right or am I wrong?
Of course. And again, he said, no, it was me. So, like, we don't need to look for this.
So I guess it doesn't matter
we don't
anymore.
A normal president would be horrified, and there would be heads to roll if ICE agents were murdering Nazi-style Americans on the streets. A normal president would be horrified and call the family and how's your family and would have empathy. They just double down on the lies. And so that's why that goes back to that normalization of deviance idea. Well, we need to be we need to have our eyes wide open right now.
Amen for that. Hold on, because I know we had a caller or two that were hanging. They may have dropped because I didn't. Larry. Is there what did Dominic drop? Yeah. Was there a Dom? Okay, let's get Larry. Larry, you there?
I'm here. Thank you so much, Gilbert.
Larry, talk to me. What do you got? You got me, Gilbert Garcia, and of course, was Mr. Terry Wirtz, candidate for CD 9.
Wonderful, wonderful. Hi, Terry. Hi, Gilbert. I wanted to tell you, I'm running for Congress for District 38, which runs from Tomball to Westheimer and then River Oaks to Cinco Ranch, a very big district, but running on as a fiscal conservative, of course, and focusing on the issues that people are hurting with, like security, like cost of living. And that's the areas where I've had decades of experience. So wanting to serve these fantastic folks and Texans in general.
Well, for people who are listening, that I posted something the other day that when Mayor Parker was endorsed by the Chronicle, I posted that she was endorsed by the Chronicle, and I boosted it a little bit. And I got about 140,000 different views, et cetera, and I engaged about 50,000 people, and I had about 6,500 or 7,000 comments. And of course, I was trolling myself because I wanted to see what people were saying, because I support Mayor Parker big time. And so I was surprised at how many people kept saying, well, you only do this and you only care about Democrats and this and that. And so just for all those out there, I have had people like Tom Ramsey on my show. And of course, here we're having you call in. At the end of the day, everyone knows I'm a partisan Democrat, et cetera. But what we also need, though, are Republicans that we can work with. Meaning that recognize that, good from bad or good behavior, that recognize the value of free trade, et cetera. So real quick, give everybody real quick what's your website and everything else if they want to learn more about you and your campaign.
Sure. My website is Larry Rubin for Congress. Rubin is Rubin. Larry Rubin for Congress, and definitely they can find me there. And I agree with you, Gilbert. We need more members of Congress to work together, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to get things done. Y eso es lo que a mí me gusta. Being a Hispanic, right? I understand different cultures and different people, and we all have our good side and some not so good. But at the end of the day, we have to work together to get things done, Gilbert.
That's right, because in reality, we all want the same things, right? We want a better life for people. We want our kids to live better than we did. We want good schools. We want good safety. I mean, we all want the same things. Well, thank you for calling to the show, and please call in anytime there, Larry.
Thank you, Gilbert. Terry, good luck, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Is there a Dominic on? Dom, are you there? Dominic, are you there, pal? Well, we'll come.
Thank you.
Okay, Dominic, you got me, of course, and our candidate for CD, which means, of course, Congressional District 9, Mr. Terry Virts. Am I saying it right? Virts.
Virts. It depends on the country. Yeah.
Virts.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Please excuse me for that. Go ahead, Dom.
Hey, I wanted to ask the astronaut, do you still have to be a ham radio operator before you go up to the shuttle? I mean, go up to the International Space Station. Is that still a requirement?
It's not a requirement, but it is a part of what we do. I worked on the ham radio several times. There's 2 or 3 ham radios on the ISS. So it's not a requirement, but it's a fun thing. There's people around the world that they can sign up and get a contact with the ISS.
Come on.
It's November 1 SS, I think, is the.
And they can like talk to you?
Yeah.
As you're going. I'm a radio operator. That's why I asked the question.
It's not. Yeah. So it's not a requirement, but many astronauts do it. It's kind of like a fun thing to do in our spare time.
Well, you know what? I'm going to get one so I can just go up there. Call me ISS. Call me ISS.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. How incredible is that?
It's pretty cool.
It's super cool. Dominic, and what the heck are you doing being one of those radio operators?
Well, like we had the very cold weather a couple of weeks ago. We had a net going on, and we were giving information to Transtar, which is our EOC, the Harris County EOC, and I was talking to the hams that are operating up and communicating information to the hams up in Montgomery County. So we're back up in case communications goes down. We can come in and help the counties or the city or whatever. But I want to change the question a bit. Thanks for the ham radio stuff. But sir, you present, just listening to you on Gil's show right now, you're presenting yourself as not just a Democrat, but as a gentleman, as somebody who is thinking rationally, you know, and that comes from the military, that comes from being an astronaut. And I think that's part of the problem in Washington, or across the board. There is no more being a gentleman, being a lady, being a person who is balanced mind, knows how to present him or her himself in a scholarly or an adult manner. Second of all, you brought up the thing of the shuttle at both Columbia and Challenger. What was that term used with decadence?
Normalization of deviance, like deviant.
Normalization of deviance.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to give Gil credit here. Gil, when he was head of Metro, had to deal with that to get Metro straight. So this is not just a NASA thing. This is across the board, and this thing has to be rooted out. We can't be going on the way we're going on right now. So, sir, you're not my person in Congress, but I wish you well, and please keep your balanced as far as being a gentleman in presenting your positions once you reach Washington. I have no other comments. I'm going to say it back to y'all two gentlemen.
Dominic, thank you so much. You know, Terry, he's hitting on something, which is there was a time when statesmanship was so important.
Right.
And whether it was, I mean, I hate to say it, boy, do we long for the Bushes, right? I mean, really, we're statesmen. And right now it's just bomb throwing on, and there's on all sides. Well, you know, how can you, I mean, you know, you seem, again, so rational. Are you ready to go up there, and can you be a beacon of hope that we can get back to some sort of normalcy?
Well, look, when I get elected, I'm going to go down and shake Dan Crenshaw's hand and go, all right, Dan, what can we do for
Texas?
There you go.
Together.
I'm going to go shake Ted Cruz's hand and go, Ted, we disagree on 99% of things, but what can we do? I mean, look, the Super Bowl was yesterday. Bad Bunny. That was an amazing. Absolutely love, and I understood a little bit. Entiendo un poquito español. So I'm studying. Anyway, why do we have to have a second partisan Super Bowl halftime show? That's insane. People, the vast majority of people just want normal. And I'm not going to be exciting. I'm not going to be a bomb thrower. I'm going to be like, let's govern. Let's get the budget passed. You're a businessman. Imagine if there was a company that never passed the budget.
Yeah.
Like, they'd be fired.
That's right. And
So
always
let's get the budget passed.
Yeah, and I'll just pass just this part of it, or that part of it,
right,
or that part of it, or I'm going to be delayed 6 months, 9 months. I mean, it's madness. It really is madness.
Yeah, and you know, I was at LULAC last night. I'm a proud LULAC member at a restaurant in Pasadena, Mama Rita's, and like, there was Trump voters in there in the restaurant. They didn't hate each other. They were sitting there having Mexican food together.
That's right.
If you don't turn on Fox News and you don't turn on Twitter, then we're just human beings. We're just Texans. Like, everybody wants, and you said this earlier, people want jobs. They want health care. They want safe communities. They don't want crime. They want their kids to have an opportunity to have a better life than they did. Everybody around the world. I've actually spoken on all 7 continents. I have been around the world. Everybody everywhere wants those kinds of things, except for there's always a crazy guy that wants to make his country great again. But other than that, human beings in general, we all want the same things.
Beautiful, beautiful. Human beings, we all want the same thing. We need a bumper sticker for that, because it's the truth.
It is.
It's the truth. We got another caller there. Is there show me that name again? Natalia. Is there a Natalia there?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Natalia, you got me, Gilbert Garcia, with a tip from me, and we are talking to Mr. Terry Virts, and hopefully I got that right. I'm having, just like, Anglos have a hard time saying the double L in Latino world, but go ahead, candidate for CD9, and you know what? He's ready to mix it up there in Washington and hopefully bring back some bipartisan behavior, statesmanship, and the like. And that's really what his whole life has been, serving his country on the space station and everything else at the Air Force. What do you have for him? We're ready. There's Conchita. She must be listening. Keep going. Keep going. I see you out there, Conchita. I see your. There's been lots of comments on there, by the way, Terry. But keep going. Keep going. Go ahead, Natalia. What do you got?
Yes, Mr. Virts, what does common sense immigration policy mean to you in practical terms for border security and immigrants' rights? Could you go over that a little bit more?
Sure. So first of all, we're all immigrants. If you're listening to this program in America, somebody in your family immigrated from somewhere. My family came from Germany generations ago. And so I'm a business person. Immigration should be our competitive advantage. Like, if there's so many millions of people who want to come here, let's use it to our advantage. I mean, this is a great thing. They want to come here because we are a great country. So we need to encourage legal immigration. We need to make it much more available. Let's go back to the beginning of 2024. There was a very strong immigration bill that was going to improve the immigration system. And a Republican senator told me personally, Trump called and said, don't vote for this bill because I want immigration to be a disaster. So Donald Trump actually put, of course, himself above the country, and he torpedoed that immigration bill. So we need to have more legal immigration. If folks are here in gangs committing crimes, they need to be gone. Everybody agrees with that. And as Democrats, we need to have our eyes wide open and look at the map of Texas. In 2024, the entire valley, every border county voted for Trump. And all those counties are 60, 80, 90% Latino. The Latino community said they don't want people coming across the way it was happening. So we need to, like, mea culpa, let's fix this. But what's happening today, I'll be bipartisan as much as I can. I'm not going to compromise on mass men dehumanizing people. But 35 people died in detention last year, and there's no public videos of it. So probably bad stuff was happening. They're building these Walmart centers. They're just inhuman. So the dehumanizing language, separating kids from families, this is not what normal, peaceful nations do.
This is almost like what happened during World War II, right, where they interned the Japanese Americans.
Yeah.
And this is how it all started in Germany. You would know better than me how you first started labeling people.
Yeah.
And then you sort of went after the intellectuals and then you went after the press.
Yeah.
And then the people that were it's all the same playbook.
Yeah.
Of how to take over and rationalize meanness, and you have a boogeyman of something, and boy, it's scary as can be.
It's hatred, it's racism. I had the misfortune of being at the White House. I was speaking about space policy at the National Space Council during Trump 1. Trump came in, I was sitting 10 feet in front of him, and the hatred that came out of that man. I've never seen a person more hateful towards Latino immigrants coming across the border. It was disgusting. So look, it needs to be done rationally. We need to give people legal status, and we need them. Like,
that's right.
Even if you don't want to be a humanitarian and you don't care about human beings, we need them economically.
That's right.
But of course, the humanitarian is way more important than the economics. But in all ways, we need immigrants. And what Trump is doing is, look, I was in Germany in the Air Force. I was based there. I've been to Auschwitz. I've been to Dachau. When you start dehumanizing people like this, that's where that ends up, like you just said. So
God, you've been everywhere. I mean, really,
I've been very lucky.
I mean, it's incredible when you talk about things, you're like a Renaissance man, and you can talk about it with knowledge. When you talk about Auschwitz and these sorts of things, I mean, you've been there. You've seen the horror.
I was in Nuremberg a couple months ago. Like, this is
where the trials and all that were.
Luckily, after World War II, we won. In the Soviet Union, the Soviets won, so they never had the Nuremberg trial. What the Russians did was horrific. They killed millions of people. They ask anybody from Estonia or Poland or Ukraine what they think about. Right? Russia never had that kind of reckoning. So the buzzword for Democrats now is affordability, and I agree. Like, we need to have a positive vision for the future, give people health care and economic opportunity. I agree. Affordability is important, but accountability needs to happen.
Amen.
So
for
affordability, but accountability has to happen first.
So Natalia, hopefully we answered your question, but if you have a follow-up, let us know.
Since it's into space, did that help, I guess, overall envision the immigration issue? I mean, we seem so small from above. Like, it really doesn't
Very
seem...
interesting. Earth seems so small. And we're all, it's one Earth.
My crewmate, Samantha Cristoforetti, who was just in the opening ceremonies for the Olympics this week, she's Italian, she said it best. And she said, when you look at Earth, you see it as a spaceship flying through the galaxy. And so we should be crewmates on the spaceship, not just passengers. And so when you look at Earth, I'll tell you what, you don't see white or brown or black. You see blue. Like we're all sharing this. And I, people, it's the truth. I mean, it's like, hey, we're all human beings on the Earth down there. And so that was my takeaway. Like we're all humans. And so let's take care of the planet. And I hate to sound too naive. I understand. Look, what Vladimir Putin is doing is wrong in Ukraine. What the civil war in Sudan is wrong. What Donald Trump is doing in a lot of things is just morally wrong. So we can't just say everybody's okay. You need to call out evil when you see it. But yeah, immigration is very important. The system needs to be profoundly fixed. Reagan, ironically, was the last guy to do that. So it's been 40 years since we had comprehensive immigration reform.
And so many things about Reagan, Trump is just dismantling. Reagan was really a pro-trade president.
He was pro-immigration. He was pro-free trade. He was pro-NATO.
And he did not want terrorists. And there's a really great clip that was put out there where he was giving a big speech about the destruction of what terrorists do.
Right.
And that's from Ronald Reagan. But Natalia, hopefully we answered your question.
It did. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for calling in.
Very good, very good. Well, thank you, Natalia. And so let's keep going because I want to go back, Terry, for something, which is when you look at your district, what do you think are the 3 top things that they care about? Have you done any polling or anything like that in the district, or do you know what? And I know if everything takes money, et cetera.
Yeah.
But in general, what do you think when you're out there on the trenches? People say universally 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, healthcare.
Healthcare
is
too expensive. It's ridiculous.
I was talking to a Latino business owner. He has an agriculture business. One of his employees was paying $700 a month for insurance for his family, which is too much. And then now it's the new year, right? 2026 bills are coming out. $2,300 a month, and the deductible went way up. $2,300.
Wow.
No, who can afford $2,300 a month?
I mean, nobody can.
It's
the masses cannot.
And the Republican Party. And by the way, lots of working class folks voted for Trump, but Trump is not for you. This is my message to my district. My district, $65,000 median income. This is a working class district. This is all the refineries. When you're driving on the Beltway and you look out over the Ship Channel, you see Ship Channel and refineries. That's District 9. And there's farmers in Liberty County. So this is a working class district. There's nobody in my district who can write a check to Trump's gold-plated toilet fund for the for the ballroom. Nobody can write that check. So they're not going to get anything from him. And so the policies that people want are things that help working class people. So economics, affordability is the top thing, but also the human rights is front and center. I mean, 60% Latino population, they are not happy. I was block walking in the East End, which is kind of near downtown Houston. Very, very working class. This is not a low income area. Talking to this very sweet 75-year-old Latina and citizen. She votes every year. And she said, Terry, I don't leave my house anymore unless I have to because of ICE. American citizens afraid to leave their house. And so I think a year ago, the issue would have been housing, healthcare, whatever. But now the ICE thing is very important.
Well, here I am. You would think that I wouldn't have to worry about those things, you would think, because, I went to college, et cetera. But at the end of the day, I do. And I've had to have the talk with all of my kids, which is, your name is Garcia.
Right.
Bottom line. And you may think this, but your name is Garcia, and you need to be prepared. And if something happens with ICE, and if you don't have and you look Hispanic,
right,
and if you don't have your ID with you or something like that, you don't know.
Right.
They could just take you away, and you don't know what will happen. It's scary. But I had to have that talk with my kids.
You know what? I didn't.
Yep.
Because I'm an Anglo.
Yep.
My neighbor, my kids are in their 20s, but my neighbor has a 10-year-old, and they're in a little Facebook. They have Facebook groups, and recently, it's been a couple months, one of the parents posted, "Hey, if there's I need a nice white person to pick my kid up from school." This is in the suburbs of Houston, right?
but yet I get it.
I need a nice white person to pick up my kids from school.
Yeah, I totally get it.
And talking to African American voters, who, by the way, are super engaged. They're 10% of the population. They're 28% of the vote. These folks know. They know that the district has been gone. They know they're taking it from Al Green. They know when they're very engaged, which is we all should be.
And because they've seen this rodeo before. This is not new.
If anybody should be concerned, it's right. They know. They know. And so I'll say this to the Latino listeners. Latinos are 60% of the population. They're only 36% of the vote. So we need to get the Latino vote out.
Amen.
And Barbara Jordan, former congressman, 50 years ago, she impeached Richard Nixon, African-American lady from Houston, Barbara Jordan. Her great quote is, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And so vote. Be engaged.
To vote.
Yeah.
Got to vote.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. So, when you look at things like NASA, and I could be wrong, but I know that, or at least I thought, they were trying to gut that budget. How does that make you feel? Because look at all the things that came from the whole space program. A lot of the things in science that we use today, whether it's medicines and things we were able to do in zero gravity, and what do I know, but at least whether we've learned about different plastics or other compounds or things of that nature, all the things we've learned, but yet we want to cut the budget.
Yeah.
I mean, does that add up to you?
So the president's budget was going to gut it by 50%. And they've Elon came in. So Elon gave Trump hundreds of millions of dollars, and Trump gave him the keys to the federal government. And he has an AI company, and a big part of his wealth comes from this AI company. And he gave Elon all of the data of the U.S. government. And data is what's valuable for these AI companies, right? Imagine how valuable that is. It cost him $200 million. And it's given him untold billions. Yeah,
he's going to make a trillion.
He came in with the chainsaw, and 25% of NASA is gone now.
Is that right?
25% of the employees have gone. I was talking to a senior leader recently who said, Terry, I've never seen morale this low. And that includes when the Columbia space shuttle blew up. And that includes when they canceled the Constellation program. It's been awful, and the science has been really gutted. There's still money being spent. They're still spending money on the moon program. Congress came in and undid those cuts, so I think the budget that actually gets passed is not going to have the cuts that the Trump administration wanted. But when they've shut down a lot of the science experiments, so the astronauts on the space station have a lot less science to do than they did a year ago. And it's not only NASA, it's all of our healthcare organizations, HHS, CDC, all the alphabet soup acronyms out there. We had the July 4th floods, horrific tragedy, right? The Weather Service predicted the rain, and there's a guy whose job is to alert come on the local radio stations like we're doing right now, and hey, people, he had taken the Doge early out. So the person whose job was to warn everybody had been doged by Elon Musk. And so governments matter. Like, we got to have a government that works. We don't want some big, huge, inefficient. We don't want the, people fraud, waste, and abuse. Of course, you don't want that stuff. But we need a government that functions.
What's interesting is people will always complain about government till they need government.
Until they need government.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like, oh, I don't want the government. And all of a sudden a big flood comes. Where's the government to help me with my flood? Or something like a big storm comes, a hurricane. Well, God, where's FEMA? Well, I need some help.
Well, FEMA's been gutted.
I mean,
badly.
But isn't that normally that's what happens? It seems over and over, which is we don't know it until it happens to me,
right?
Or some sort of. There wasn't a meat inspector or something, and someone in my family ate something bad and now passed away with cancer or something. Well, where was the government?
Yeah,
that's when they want it.
And unfortunately, you can't just snap your finger and make NASA out of something, or make cancer research out of something. And back to the point, immigration should be our competitive advantage. I know a lot of scientists who are going to Canada. Canada's like advertising hard to bring scientists there. Europe is advertising hard to bring scientists there. So this is generational. This is not something that can just be fixed overnight. It can be damaged overnight.
Right.
It's reputation and institutions take a long time to build up. The civil service. We have kind of a boring, nerdy civil service where you're supposed to be a bureaucrat. It's not political. That's what you want.
Right. That's right.
I just read this weekend, 50,000 civil service jobs are losing those protections, and they're being converted to political jobs.
That's right. And they're all going to be, or a big chunk, terminated.
Well, guess what, Trump? When you're gone, you're going to be gone. The Democrats can come in and politicize these things just as bad. We can gerrymander California.
I mean,
I'm going to win this seat. You're not going to
Yep.
get this seat, but California will. So be careful what you wish for.
That's right. What's interesting about what you just said, the whole eye for an eye.
Yeah.
But I mean, then everyone's blind, that
Right.
statement. But at the end of the day, you got to do something to fight back.
Right.
Or to respond rather than just roll over.
Yeah.
And if they're going to, make a change in the middle of the census, meaning there's no census right now, but they're going to make a change, changing the district in Texas, well, then we need to do so in California.
Right. And I can win this seat. We just saw in Fort Worth a guy named Taylor Remmett.
I saw.
I was up there a couple weeks ago. I did a fundraiser for him. Good guy, young guy. He was also Air Force veteran. He was a B-52 mechanic. Now he works at the Lockheed factory where they built my F-16s. I used to go there all the time as a test pilot. Trump won that district. It's also District 9, State Senate District 9. I'm running in Congressional District 9. Trump won that district by 17 points a year ago. And Taylor Remmett just won it by 14. That's a 31-point flip.
That's like never happens.
And that area is 40% Latino, so not quite as much as mine, but it's a similar voting habits,
Right.
a very heavily Latino district. There were some Latino precincts that flipped by 51%. That's like
that never happens. I mean,
Right.
that's almost like saying
50%.
that
That's
could never. I mean, it's
huge.
like, how could that happen? Right.
Well, put mass people
Yeah.
who are taking tu gente off the street,
Yep.
and then you're going to have that happen.
Well, I know we're running out of time, but you know what? It's hard to believe we're going so fast here. But
Yeah.
I got a lot more I wanted to ask you. But first, we have another caller. Is there Lisa there?
Yes, hi, this is Lisa.
Lisa, you got me a tip from me with Mr. Terry Virts of, everything. But most importantly now, he's a candidate for Congressional District number 9. What do you got for us?
That is so awesome. I heard that you had an astronaut online, so I went to call in and ask a question. I think that's the coolest thing ever. And, growing up, people say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And there's students who say, I want to be an astronaut. So to actually talk to one is super cool. So I was wondering, are there any myths you would like to just kind of clear up in the room for everyone who have about astronauts and anything about space?
Ah,
That is a great question.
Yes. Or myths that you want to say, yep, it's like that. I mean,
Yes, exactly.
because first of all, I got these. I mean, I don't want to what do you call it, fanboy you, but but what's it like being like with no gravity? I mean, are you just?
Yeah.
I mean, do you? Is it like going to make your stomach queasy, or you just like playing around with each other? Here, I'll throw this pin to you. I mean, what's it like?
That's a great. So it feels like you're falling, and the reason is you're falling. Like it's not 0 G. You're only a few hundred miles away, so there's a lot of gravity from Earth. But as you're falling, you're also moving forward 5 miles a second. So falling and moving makes an orbit because you're going at the right speed. So it feels like you're falling. It takes a few days. And you talked about like if I had this pen and I was throwing it to you, I would throw it high. Because if I had a pen and I threw it to you on Earth, I got to compensate for gravity. But in space, you don't have to do that. So it took me a couple days before I kind of felt normal, but it took a few weeks before I was really good. And when you throw something to somebody, you have to like concentrate so hard to throw the thing right towards them.
Very interesting. Well, go back for a second. You're going how fast again? You said 500. What did you say?
5 miles a second.
A second.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: do you feel like you're moving?
No, not at all. You feel like you're falling, because you're in a can. So unless you're looking out the window, and when you look out the window, it's like being in an airliner. If you've ever flown and looked out the window, you kind of see the ground moving below. That's kind of what it feels like, but you're also hundreds or thousands of miles away from that thing. When we came back to Earth, on my first flight, it was at nighttime, so you couldn't really see. But on the second flight, it was in the day, and we landed in Kazakhstan. And coming over Africa, the capsule rotated, so I looked out the window, and we were really low over the East African rift, like Sudan and Ethiopia. Oh my God, we were moving fast. I mean, things were flying by. So normally when you're way up high, you don't notice it, but right before landing, we were still going pretty fast, and that's orbital speed is fast. I'll say that.
Wow. Well, Lisa, I'm going to keep piling on some of your questions because I saw that movie Gravity.
Yeah.
And that's a great movie, right?
Yeah.
Is that like that with all the stuff flying around? But there's a lot of things. Be careful. I mean,
Yeah.
is there just so much, I'm going to use a bad term, space debris just out there?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And you have to like avoid it? Or, I mean,
I'm friends with Chivo Lebeski. He's the Mexican cinematographer.
Oh,
who
okay.
He won the Academy 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
He does
it's incredible what he did.
Birdman,
That's
Gravity,
another great
and
one.
Revenant. Yeah.
And Revenant. Oh my God.
Amazing cinematographer.
Yes.
He won the Academy 3 years in a row.
Wow.
He works with Guillermo del Toro and some
Yep.
of the Mexican directors. Anyway, the debris is a real thing. You can't see it because it's also going 5 or 10 miles a second. But when I did spacewalks, one of our tasks, you have these handles and you move with your hands, and there's all kinds of little divots where a little piece of dust or paint or something hits the space station going 5 miles a second, and it looks like a crater, only it's a couple inches wide. So we had to cover it, because if you grab on sharp metal with your glove and you rip it, you got the rest of your life to plug the hole.
Wow.
so we had to cover up the divot. So there is a lot of space debris out there.
Wow. Well, let me ask you, I mean, this is, I can't help these questions, but since you did it and you opened it up, Lisa, what do you eat? What do you eat up there?
Yeah, the food is not bad. It's pretty good. So there's a couple different kinds. Some of it is just straight from HEB, like a beef jerky, Reese's peanut butter cups, whatever. Yeah. I had these chocolate covered blueberries when I was up there.
Yep.
Some of it is dehydrated, and there's a NASA food lab, and they dehydrate meat or like strawberries, freeze-dried strawberries, turkey tetrazzini, whatever. So you can dehydrate food.
Does it taste good?
It tastes pretty good. It's not. It's better at the local Mexican restaurant here, but
They don't have carne guisada. They don't have taqueria Laredo up there in space for carne guisada.
we have tortillas. We don't have bread because bread goes bad after a week, and they put tortillas in these vacuum sealed things. So the only bread that we had on the American side was tortillas.
Wow, you know what that
Flour,
means?
not corn.
That means Mexican food is there in the space station. We gotta let everybody know. But Lisa, I'm gonna keep going if you don't mind. So how do you know night from day?
So if you're looking out the window, you can see if the
Okay.
sun's up or not. But if you're not next to the window, you set your watch
And
you set it to GMT, so basically London time. And so the space station runs on GMT.
But I mean, is your body sleeping at night?
Yeah.
You wake up in the day?
Your body is the same. So our bodies are on a 24-hour clock. In fact, the Mars has a 24-and-a-half-hour day. So when we started doing this Mars program 25 years ago, the engineers out at JPL tried to stay on Mars time, and that sounds kind of cool. You get an extra 30 minutes a day. It's like half of a daylight savings. In the fall, whatever. Getting an extra 30 minutes sounds good, but after a week or two, they were completely wrecked because human bodies are designed to work in 24 hours. So we just set our alarm. We have a 7:30 GMT meeting in the morning.
Wow.
7 p.m. meeting at night.
Well, let me.
Yeah.
I can't help it. But so if you're trying to go to sleep, are you floating in the air?
So
I mean, like how you? I mean,
Yeah.
you got you're tied down somehow to something.
Yeah. On the space shuttle, it's a pretty small area. It's like the space shuttle area is like a master bathroom kind of size. So then there were 6 of us. So everybody has a sleeping bag. So you would find a wall or a ceiling and clip your sleeping bag and put your ear blinders on and earplugs. And on the space station, we have our little cabin. It's like the size of a phone booth. And so I would get in my sleeping bag, put my arms in, put my head in, and float without being clipped or anything. And that was really super cool to float. And I put my headset just like we got on right now, and I listened to Interstellar soundtrack. That movie had just come out.
Oh, yeah,
so
yep.
I listened to it. I still listen to it. I listened to it last night when I go to bed.
Man.
But yeah.
Well, let me ask. I mean, I can't. Lisa, can I keep going?
I
mean, because you opened it up. I mean, this is. I mean, just the everyday living. So
was going to ask about the sleeping arrangement next.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you did.
how? I mean, are y'all taking showers up there? I mean, how's the is water flow?
No, so I helped make an IMAX movie called A Beautiful Planet, and I did a shower scene. You can watch me taking a shower. So there's no. It's a great film, by the way. If you like space travel, A Beautiful Planet.
We're gonna have to pull that one up, guys. What's it called again?
A Beautiful Planet.
A Beautiful Planet. It sounds great. Keep
It's
going.
amazing. So there's no shower. It's just wet towels, which actually works really well because I got soaking wet, sweaty. We had an hour or 2.5 hours of exercise every day, So I would get just drenched in wet towels. A little bit of soap was pretty good. They didn't give us nearly enough soap. This is kind of a long story. So there's a spreadsheet how often you get underwear and T-shirts and shorts and whatever, and soap was one of the things, and it was the number 2. So I was like, all right, once every 2 days. So we had these little like drink bags, only they were soap, and I was using one every other day. And then I couldn't find any more soap. I called down, and they were like, "Oh no, that was every 2 weeks."
Oh my God! So you used
I used all my soap in like a couple weeks.
So there you are talking to your space station mates. Can I borrow some soap?
Yes.
I mean,
So
right? Can I borrow some soap?
They had to send some more up. So if I'm ever an asset administrator, I'm going to make sure they get more soap up there.
Holy cow! Well, Lisa, hopefully we answered some of your questions, especially all of the ones that maybe you were going to be afraid to ask, but I had to ask them. So you got anything else for us?
No, that was great. And I definitely didn't even think about the water and the soap situation. So I'm happy we touched on that too.
Very good. Thank you so much for calling.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Lisa.
We got another call. Let's see if we can fit this one in here. Is there a Joe? I didn't see that last name. Panzarella. Hopefully I said that correctly. Joe, are you there?
Yes, sir. Good morning. How are y'all doing today?
Good. What do you got for me? You got, of course, astronaut Terry Virts from the International Space Station. What do you got for us? And, of course, let's not forget the most important reason why we're here. I'm going to have to have you back on, by the way.
Let's do it.
Because I didn't feel like I went through all the issues. He is a candidate for CD9, which is the sort of the new, different Al Green district, if that's such a phrase. But go for it. What do you got there, Joe?
Amazing. Well, thank y'all so much for the opportunity to be here today. My name is Joe Panzarella. I'm also running for Houston City Council District C. Just want to give a quick plug to that. But thank y'all for having me today. My question is, if you are lucky enough to be elected and to represent this new congressional district, what are ways that you are looking to bring more funding for education to kind of develop that next generation of astronauts?
Amen for that. What can we do?
Well, I love that question, Joe. First of all, not destroy the Department of Education would be step one, like they've done.
Yep.
Not have a voucher program that takes money out of our public schools. I'm a product of public schools. I was lucky that my mom and stepdad moved to a neighborhood where there was good public school, and that's the reason I was able to go to the Air Force Academy and all that. Every kid in our district should have that opportunity. I'm a passionate advocate for public schools. Liberty County is part of my district, and there are 0.0 schools in Liberty County that can accept vouchers. So, and unfortunately, Liberty County went 80-20 for Trump, and Abbott. And so folks are voting to remove money out of their community. Like, let's stop doing that. Let's keep the money at home. Let's make sure that all kids have opportunities. I think things like, I'm glad we're getting devices out of the classroom. The kids are just way too distracted. I would also ban social media for kids under 16. It is digital poison. It is horrific for kids. It's making Elon Musk or Meta, Zuckerberg, and these guys trillions of dollars, and it's destroying our kids. So that's one of the things I would do. But I think, kids need to have properly funded and safe schools. I've known teachers in some districts here in the Houston area that are like scared to go to class because it's not safe. So we need to make sure that kids,
I hear horror stories from friends of mine that are teachers, and many of them, frankly, friends of mine that are still got plenty of time left in their timeline of life, God willing, dropping out. They're just leaving the profession. They're just retiring because they're like, I'm not getting paid. It's not safe. I've got all these big brother issues now watching me on everything I do, and it's just a miserable environment.
It is. And, this whole turning point, you said Charlie Kirk, like, God bless Charlie Kirk, that was horrific, but they're just politicizing it and terrorizing teachers now. If you say the wrong thing, you're fired. Texas A&M, great university. My son's an Aggie. I give him a hard time about it constantly. What a disaster for public education to have Big Brother, like you said, forcing people to do things. So there's a lot of things that we need to do for education. and it's super important.
So, Joe, thank you for calling. Unfortunately, we only have one more minute, and I'm going to give it to Terry for a minute. So, Joe, thank you for calling in. Please call in again. Houston and Harris County, we have, of course, Mr. Terry Virts, who is the candidate for CD9. I'm going to bring him back. I'm committed. I want to bring him back sooner than later because I feel like we didn't talk about all the issues in the district and everything else and where it is because we were so amazed at your accomplishments. You have the last word, please. That's your live radio, TV, everything. You tell us what you're going to do when you're elected to Congress.
The first thing I'll do is I'll say vote. Like I said, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So get out there, make sure you vote. Early voting is in a week. The election's in 3 weeks. My website is terryvirts.com. If you like it, go check out terryvirts.com. I need volunteers to do phone banking and knocking on doors. We got to get across the primary so I can win, and I will win this race in November.
There you go. You heard it here first from a tip from me. Talk, inspiration, and prayer. We'll see you next time. And don't forget, carne guisada. That's going to be the next thing at Laredo Taqueria that we're going to have up there on the space station with those tortillas. All right, Houston, Harris County, this is Gilbert Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, Talk, Inspiration, and Prayer. We're going to now be on television. We will air every Saturday on Comcast 17, AT&T Channel 99, Phonoscope Channel 96, Suddenlink 99, and also hmstv.org. Every new episode every Saturday at 7 p.m. And follow me on social media. See you then.